Hey nerd, how are you? Welcome to Nerd Sensei channel. The Akatsuki is the organization that features some of the main antagonists that have appeared in Masashi Kishimoto's work, being primarily responsible for the major events in the Naruto Shippuden saga, boasting extremely powerful members. And in today's video, get ready because we'll be comparing the powers of Akatsuki members, ranking them from weakest to strongest. But before we dive into the video, it's worth noting that I'll be analyzing the 10 members of the Akatsuki who were under Nagato's leadership, meaning I won't discuss members like Yahiko, Obito, or even Sasuke when he joined the organization, okay? With that premise clarified, let's get to the analysis. In the 10th position in terms of power levels, we have Zetsu. Despite Zetsu's importance in Masashi Kishimoto's story, he's definitely not important because of his strength. He's very useful in reconnaissance missions, but when it comes to raw power, his greatest utility comes from using his clones. However, this still doesn't give him enough power to surpass the other members on our list. Now, in the 9th position, we have Hidan. He is in this position because despite being immortal, his only trump card in a fight, the Jashin ritual, takes quite some time to activate and requires specific conditions to be fulfilled. When we look at something other than his genjutsu, we only have his taijutsu, which although strong, is nothing out of the ordinary within the Naruto world. Therefore, his offensive capability is quite limited. Now, regarding his defensive capability, he's actually quite weak, with his only ally being the fact that he's immortal. But as we saw in his fight against Shikamaru, being immortal but without regenerative powers doesn't help much, given that he was blown into pieces and buried alive in his fight against the Nara clan member. Taking the 8th position, we have the master of explosions and artist, Deidara. Deidara has something unique. His explosion release Kekkei Genkai that allows him to create explosions with his chakra. He also stole a genjutsu from his village that gave him special mouths on the palms of his hands and chest. With this genjutsu, he became able to shape his chakra into clay. And this, combined with his Kekkei Genkai, allowed him to use various forms of clay as explosives of various types. Seriously, this unique combination of abilities is quite overpowered, making even Sasuke have a really hard time in his fight against him. Not to mention the fact that he was able to capture Gaara alone. However, he occupies this place on our list because, as you'll see later on, the remaining members are really more overpowering. In the 7th position, we have Sasori. Didn't I say just now that the next members would be more overpowering? Even Deidara himself admitted that Sasori is indeed stronger than him. And you know how proud Deidara is? He's the guy who blew himself up in a massive explosion just because he couldn't defeat Sasuke in a final attempt to force at least a draw. So, for Deidara to set aside his ego and admit that Sasori is indeed more powerful, this really has to be taken seriously. Sasori is an extremely overpowered puppet master, having been able to defeat the 3rd Kazekage, who is considered the strongest Kazekage ever seen in history. Not only that, but he had in his arsenal a technique that allowed him to control 100 puppets at the same time, said to be capable of wiping out an entire country. Now, in the 6th position, we have Konan. Konan is an extremely skilled and intelligent kunoichi, with her signature attacks being her chakra-infused origami, granting her both offensive and defensive power by showing that she can turn her entire body into thousands of paper sheets, making her intangible to physical blows. She's so overpowering that she forced Obito to use Izanagi in his fight against her in order to survive. But you might be wondering, is she really stronger than Sasori? That's where you're wrong, little nerd. It was precisely Konan who recruited Sasori to join the Akatsuki, having defeated the puppet master when he was already using his puppet of the 3rd Kazekage, so her power is indeed worthy of respect. Taking the 5th position on our list, we have Kakuzu. Seriously, man, despite being defeated at the beginning of the Shippuden saga, he's really powerful. First, in terms of his offensive capability, his taijutsu was so powerful that he was able to hold back a reinforced punch from Chuji with just one hand and without difficulty. Now, regarding his ninjutsu, he was so overpowering that he could use 5 nature transformations thanks to the hearts he had under his control, which also allowed him to manipulate these hearts in combat by creating separate bodies from his own, aiding him in battle. This is not to mention his incredible intelligence and immortality, as defeating him required destroying each of his 5 hearts, so he still had a stockpile of lives if needed. As for his feats, besides nearly eliminating Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, and Kakashi all at once, these being saved by Naruto, he even fought the 1st Hokage, considered the shinobi god at the time when he didn't have his other 4 hearts. Therefore, the 5th position is rightfully Kakuzu's. In the 4th position, we have Orochimaru. Despite having left the Akatsuki in Naruto Classic, he was indeed a very powerful member. His speed was such that he could dodge attacks from Naruto with 4 tails. Now, regarding his defensive capabilities, besides being able to summon large barriers, he also has in his arsenal his skin-shedding ability. His arsenal of jutsu is also gigantic, as besides being able to summon powerful snakes like Manda, he can even use Edo Tensei, which is a great advantage in battles. As for his feats, he was able to defeat the 4th Kazekage, although it's not known if he had help with that or not, and defeated the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Now, in our 3rd position, we have Hoshigaki Kisame. Kisame is so powerful that he's considered like a tailed beast without a tail, being able to create practically an ocean in the middle of the desert with 30% of his chakra in his fight against Guy and his team. Kisame possesses several extremely powerful techniques with his water release, and is shown to be capable of absorbing chakra even without his sword, Samahata. Now, speaking a bit about his Samahata, Kisame, besides possessing extremely skilled genjutsu in his sword's usage, he could also use Samahata to absorb chakra and even fuse it into his body, enhancing all of his already insanely high attributes. As for his feats, he was able to capture the Jinchuriki of the Four Tails, Roshi, alone, and almost completely defeated Killer Bee, only not defeating him because he feigned his death to be a spy in the war. Taking the 2nd position, we have Uchiha Itachi. Seriously, are you going to say this guy isn't extremely powerful? Itachi was considered a genius even as a child, becoming an ANBU captain at just 13 years old. As an adult, we can see his incredible power evolution, having awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan and using extremely badass jutsu like Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, and his Susanoo, which is ridiculously overpowered as it can use the Yata Mirror, capable of reflecting any attack, and the Totsuka Blade, capable of sealing anyone it strikes. All of this without even mentioning his feats, having been able to incapacitate Kakashi without lifting a finger. He also wiped out the most powerful clan in the Leaf Village, alongside Obito, his own Uchiha clan. He also showed incredible superiority over Deidara effortlessly, where Deidara had put Itachi as his goal to surpass. Not only that, with just his genjutsu, he easily defeated Orochimaru, which led Orochimaru to decide to leave the Akatsuki to try to surpass Itachi. So, Itachi was so overpowering that even incredibly powerful members of the Akatsuki considered him a goal to surpass. However, he only doesn't occupy the 1st place on our list because unlike Obito, who has Hashirama's cells, and Sasuke, who possesses the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, he wears himself out a lot when using his greatest trump card, his Mangekyo. Just to remind you, by using Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu in Naruto Classic, he was already practically out of energy, with it being said that his limit for using the Mangekyo is 3 times in just a single day. But despite his stamina not being so high, his power is so immense that he rightfully occupies the 2nd place. Finally, we've reached the 1st and esteemed position, Nagato or Pain. In this analysis, we'll consider the 6 bodies of Pain, and not Nagato, with the 6 powers concentrated within himself. Given that we're analyzing a period of the Akatsuki where Nagato only used the 6 bodies of Pain in battle. With that in mind, let's proceed with the analysis. Nagato is truly unparalleled. Just take a look at this. With the power of his Rinnegan, Nagato can perform various simultaneous summonings of incredibly powerful creatures with the Animal Path, manipulate the attractive and repulsive forces of gravity with the Diva Path, absorb ninjutsu and chakra with the Prita Path, read minds and rip out souls with the Human Path, access even an endless number of weapons and armors while being able to transform his own body with the Asura Path, summon the King of Hell, and heal all other bodies with the Naraka Path, and finally, with the Outer Path, he controls life and death, being able to resurrect people. Seriously, are you going to say this guy isn't way too overpowered? With this incredible power, he achieved some incredible feats, such as defeating the Salamander Hanzu, a ninja who fought against the 3 Sanins of Konoha at the same time and spared their lives in battle. Not only that, but Pain was also able to defeat Jiraiya, a legendary ninja. He also defeated Kakuzu, who later joined the Akatsuki, and even destroyed the entire Konoha with a good portion of its ninjas. Seriously, he took the most overpowered village in Masashi Kishimoto's world and turned it to dust with all of its ninjas, including Junins, Chunins, and Anbu. But you might be wondering, how does he occupy the 1st place given that Nagato's Edo Tensei was sealed by Itachi's Totsuka Blade in the 4th Ninja War? Well, I have 2 main reasons for that. The first being that Nagato was fighting against three extremely powerful beings at the same time, namely Naruto, Killer Bee, and Itachi himself. As for the second reason, as seen in the fight, Nagato was in his version without his bodies of the Path of Pain. In other words, if Nagato had the 6 paths of pain, and even if Itachi didn't know in advance how the bodies worked, given that even Jiraiya gave his life to understand the ability, if he hit one of the bodies with the Totsuka blade, that wouldn't mean Nagato's defeat, but rather the defeat of only one of his 6 bodies of pain. Now that we've clarified that, let's talk about the reasons why pain occupies the first position. The first reason is that pain can counter everything Itachi has. Tsukuyomi wouldn't affect Nagato, because besides pain possessing a dojutsu superior to the Mangekyu, namely the Rinnegan, he also has his field of vision shared, so even if one of the bodies of pain were trapped in Tsukuyomi, it would be ineffective since even Ibiki's torture on one of the bodies of pain had no effect because it didn't affect Nagato directly. As for Amaterasu, it's considered a fire release technique, and this could be absorbed by Pain's Preta path. Finally, his greatest trump card, the Susanoo with the Totsuka blade, could be repelled and neutralized by the gravitational manipulation of the Deva path. Now the second reason, the difference in chakra between the two. Nagato has a gigantic chakra, being one of the largest in the entire world of Naruto, and as seen, he has unparalleled stamina, as besides invading the village, wiping out all of its ninjas, Nagato still faced Naruto, and not satisfied, used his chakra to revive the entire village. Therefore, in a possible fight with Itachi, Nagato could fight for a long time using his maximum, which wouldn't happen in Itachi's case, given that I analyzed earlier that he has low stamina. And if he were to use his Susanoo, he wouldn't be able to maintain it for long. Thus, the first place as the most powerful member of the Akatsuki belongs to Nagato. And that's basically it, nerd! Did you enjoy the video? Disagree with any position on this list? Leave it in the comments. And if you guys liked it, I could even make a new video including Akatsuki members who weren't on this list like Obito. Thank you very much for watching up to this point, and see you in the next video.